We only have a few days left where we can actually get into draft. So you better believe I am taking advantage, and you better believe Underdog is giving us pick 9. I know people aren't going to believe it. A-Rod is in this draft with us, so we saw that we got stuck with pick 9. Yes, Underdog does have it out for us. I have no idea how the hell this keeps happening, but let me know if you are in this draft in the live stream right now. I know that this draft is filled entirely from the people in the live stream. This is a private $3 draft on Underdog. I see that we have A-Rod in here at pick 5. Pick 6, I know that is Nolan in the chat. Steel Curtain in at 3. It's definitely been in drafts with us as well. Maybe Julius in there at 11. Kyler in at 12. But thank you, everybody, for joining. CMC, CeeDee Lamb start this draft off 1 and 2. No surprises there. I mean, that's pretty much what we've come to expect. We do have some updates to talk about with the news that's happened today. Obviously, there's not a ton. We've definitely been very lucky in terms of injuries that we've been having to deal with. But Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be good to go week 1. That is the main thing that I want to be pointing out. Christian McCaffrey is set to practice. Did practice today as well. Trent Williams did sign his extension with the Niners. So the Niners have got their contract situations settled, which is really nice to know, of course. And especially if you are wanting to go through, you're wanting to invest into like Brock Purdy, you're wanting to invest into, say, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, really any of those options. But Chase goes off the board at 7, so we have no news with Jamar Chase. No news with Chase. But A.J. Brown goes, we will take Justin Jefferson at pick 9. Thank you. Please come again. Call the realtor. Call the realtor. Let's get it going. We are in here. Yes, we are pick 9. I know that pick 9 again is tough. Underdog loves sticking us with pick 9 for whatever reason, but I'm going to have zero complaints when Justin Jefferson falls to me at 9, and I would love to know if there is anything that I am missing here with Jefferson. Okay. But Taylor Barkley go off the board there at the 1-2 turn. We'll make the boring decision to just take Drake London here. I know London seems very gross at pick 16. I agree with you. But if you want to tell me Mason London's disgusting, you can't take Drake London here, all I would ask you is, okay, well, if we can't take Drake London, are you super excited about Nico Collins? Are you super excited about Deebo Samuel? Like, who are you wanting to take here in that case? Okay. Now, let's move this over. Steven says Jefferson is quarterback proof. Now, in terms of Justin Jefferson being QB proof, I don't know if I believe that 1-for-1 in its entirety. I think that Justin Jefferson's going to be a great receiver regardless. But quarterback play definitely matters here. Now, the question is, to what extent? Instead of being the wide receiver 1 overall, I have Justin Jefferson ranked as the wide receiver 5, which obviously if you had Cousins here, you can make an argument for him being at 1. But I'll be happy to take him as the wide receiver 6 in any draft for sure. But, of course, real quick, if you wanted to get into a draft with us, we're still doing these Underdog drafts every night. If you had any draft itch left over, Underdog's the place that you were wanting to go to because they are best balls to no time commitment at all during the year. It's how I draft hundreds teams every year. It's how I won 150,000 on Underdog 2 years ago. And if you want to join a draft, the links in the live chat description comment section. If you use code FLOCK, you're going to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000, plus my 2024 rankings, draft guide, and ADP consensus cheat sheet, and a Travis Kelce special pick'em more than less than half a total yard for Thursday night. It's coming up real close, so make sure you take advantage of that. And a Christian McCaffrey special pick'em more than less than half a total yard. And Underdog has never done this many promos before. They are doing a promo every single week this week. every single day this week. And what they dropped today, I don't have the graphic available to show you on screen, but you'll see it if you just go to your Pick'em tab. And this doesn't matter if you're new to Underdog Fantasy. It doesn't matter if you've been on Underdog Fantasy for a year. I used mine this morning. You definitely need to use yours as well. Make sure you're taking advantage of all the promos. They're really giving free money for NFL kickoff. But it's called this no sweat token. So if you make a Pick'em and you don't hit it. So what we did is I took Derrick Henry to have a rushing touchdown. I believe we went Isaiah Pacheco for fewer than 13.5 rushing yards and Lamar Jackson for like fewer than 225.5 passing yards for Thursday. We put 10 to win 64. And if we do not hit that pick'em slip, then we actually get our money back from Underdog Insight credit. So it's a no sweat pick'em. You're only allowed to do up to $10, of course. If not, I would have done every penny in my bank account, but I would definitely recommend it. Make sure you are tracking the promos and taking advantage of them, because I've never seen Underdog do anything like this week. Okay. But Kyron off the board at 28. I think there was a draft last night where we got Kyron Williams making it to us at pick 33. When we go Jefferson and London with our first two picks, we definitely have the optionality to go ahead and take a receiver. Dewey says mine was only $5. You had a max of $5. There's no way you had a max of $5 there, my guy. Derrick Henry will be our next at 33. Maybe you only put $5 down. Maybe you only had $5 in your account, but no, the site max for that is 10. But we will go Derrick Henry as our running back one here. Do I love Derrick Henry? Not really, but it is what it is. We've been mixing him in some at the 3-4 turn as of late, especially if you're looking at this private draft on Underdog where we don't have to consider an overall tournament aspect to it. And I'm just trying to beat the 11 other drafters that we are going against. But Rob, happy to see you, my friend. I actually broke down your team on flockfantasy.com earlier today. I sent you the link. I'm sorry, I sent you the MP3, the podcast, through the site. I hope you got an email that it's available for you. So definitely pull up flockfantasy.com and you'll check out and you can see your team review there, my friend. And let me know if you've already seen it, because I think I maybe did an hour or two ago. Now that team at 12 decides to go with the Kelsey Mahomes stack, really passing on receiver. So moving this around, Josh Allen goes. So we will tank Dell. Dell really does not fall this far to you in Underdog drafts in particular. In your regular redraft league, I definitely would prefer Jalen Hurts. I definitely prefer grabbing an elite. And I'm sure that the devs will be happy to go through and help you out with that. But another thing too is I actually broke down the Flock chat league with a podcast for Vinny through flockfantasy.com too. So I saw the league that y'all drafted together. But after we take Dell, you have Jalen Hurts, Josh Jacobs, Michael Pittman, T. Higgins all off the board. I do want to reiterate, Jacobs is another example. In your regular draft, 100% you take Josh Jacobs over Tank Dell. Ryan says, how do you join a private draft? So I'm going to send the link to the next private draft in the chat. It will say $3 draft here. You just click that link and you're in, my friend. And Teresa, I sent the MP3 to Vinny. I told Vinny to email me if he had an issue downloading the MP3 and sending it to everybody in the league. But Rob says he got the team breakdown. Appreciate it, man. Drop Goff for Trey Benson. Oh, 100%. If Benson was on your waiver wire. And I've been trying to trade Montgomery for the past 2 days. But yeah, no, if you were able to get Benson for Goff, I think that's 100% the move to drop Goff and get Trey Benson off waivers. And yeah, that's one thing that we're going to look to improve on flockfantasy.com in the next few weeks. Obviously, if y'all don't know, I'm investing everything we have into flockfantasy.com. We're about to have a massive, massive update that I'm super pumped for y'all to see. But anyway, one thing that we need to improve over the next few weeks is with the team submissions. I definitely want to be able to see the best available players on the waiver wire. So I will say as well, if you do submit your team for review through flockfantasy.com, in the comment section, it would be nice and it would be helpful if you just let me know some of the best waiver wire options are as well. Stefan says, what's up, Mason? We're back. Get ready to answer a ton of my fantasy football questions this year because I'm geared to win my league this season. Thanks in advance. So thank you for being with us for years and years and years now, my guy. Really, really do appreciate you. Now, Amari Cooper off the board at pick 50. Let's see what Steel Curtain decides to do. Steel Curtain goes George Pickens at 51. Terry McLaurin goes 52. So obviously when we go Dell there as our wide receiver 3, it's a position where we don't have to panic and just take a receiver no matter what here at the 5-6 turn. If we really like some running back values, if we really like some values of other positions, we can go in that direction. But I do want to also point out that the teams after us, that team at 11 only has Harrison, and the team at 12 is yet to take a wide receiver. So what we may end up seeing is we may see wide receivers go here at the 5-6 turn to these other squads. So if we were wanting a receiver in this range, we probably take him at 57 and expect the other position to make it back to us at 64. So James Cook goes. So looking at Kenneth Walker, Rachaad White, and Calvin Ridley, Rachaad White would actually be my highest ranked player here. But based off that team at 11 and that team at 12 really needing wide receivers, I think we're going to take Calvin Ridley and we're going to see if we can get one of the running backs making it back to us at 64. If we don't get Walker, if we don't get White, then we probably will end up settling for Joe Mixon. But regardless, because those teams at 11 and 12 really need a receiver, I think we will get a running back at 64 kind of regardless. And yeah, the team at 10 that doesn't have a running back yet, I thought that they were potentially who we had to worry about taking both Kenneth Walker and Rachaad White. They go Rome Odunze instead at 58, which definitely is good for us if we were wanting running backs to make it back to us at 64. Luck in the Draw says, Mason, how do we fix the need credentials when trying to load an ESPN team on flockfantasy.com? So if you are getting the needs credentials pop up when you try to link your ESPN team in your ESPN league with flockfantasy.com, it's because it is a private league. So what you have to do, and I know it's a little bit of a pain in the butt, but I'm sorry, it's the easiest process that we have. And we're going to get Rachaad White, the guy that we said was highest ranked available player for us in round 5. I thought we were going to get him at 64. It's exactly what happens. Beautiful team so far. But you need to log into ESPN on one browser, like just on one window, and you need to log into flockfantasy.com in the other window. You'll see the Flock Fantasy ESPN extension. You add the extension our developers have made, and then it can pull the cookies from your ESPN league, and then all of a sudden they can link. But the reason it's probably not linking for you immediately is just because it's a private league. We need to be able to pull these weird cookies. So you have to log into ESPN, log into Flock, add the Flock extension, and then we can pull your ESPN cookies. Dport says, how do you always draft 9th? It is because Underdog hates me, my friend. It is because Underdog absolutely hates me. Now, Montgomery off the board at 69. I think we have a very well-balanced team, and there's nothing that I'm really stressing about at this point. Those teams at 2 and 3 decided to go with the 0 RB approach, and they did draft 0 running backs for the first 5 rounds. So it will be interesting to see what they decide to do here. They have very similar constructions. They both go 3 receivers, an elite tight end, and then another receiver in round 5. That team at 70 decides to get CJ Stroud unstacked. Okay. John coming out here, teaching the chat how to get some more creatine down. Teaching the chat. Rock Bottom says, Mason, did you max the sprint or the marathon? I maxed both, my friend. Now, I did it the weird way. I did it through slow drafts. And to be honest with you, it will probably... It was my first year doing slow drafts. And I may not do slow drafts again on Underdog just because I definitely noticed that the people doing slow drafts were a lot sharper than the people doing fast drafts. The people doing slow drafts, you never got values you liked falling to you. I felt awkward through the entire draft at all times. So, Yeah, the slow drafts definitely seem like a much tougher crowd to go up against. Okay. Aaron says, can you do a $10 or a $15 draft after this? So after we end this draft, I'm going to ask the live chat what they would want in a private draft, whoever's willing to participate. And I'll do any dollar amount y'all want on Underdog, and I'll just set up a private draft for everybody here. Okay. So those teams, they're at 2 and 3. They decided to pass on wide receiver both at the end of the 6th and the beginning of the 7th. The team at 2 decides to go Kamara and Najee as their top 2 backs. Okay. So this is an Underdog tournament that does not have the fantasy football playoffs. It's just most cumulative. It's highest scoring teams weeks 1 through 17. For that reason, not super excited about Hollywood Brown missing week 1. Jameson, I'm not super excited about here either. I think I'd rather just take Jake Ferguson at 81. Go ahead, get a tight end that can have a ton of target volume. Should be a decent offense. You have Lamb, but beyond that, you have nobody else you really need to compete with here. So we'll take Ferguson at 81. I would have definitely preferred Evan Ingram just making it a few more picks for us. Okay. Now, after we go Ferguson, you have Jameson, Hollywood. I wouldn't be surprised if you have some more receivers off the board before we're back up at 88. So if we wanted to go with the wide receiver, we definitely should have taken him at 81. EV writes, as new to Underdog, what's different? So very different than your regular fantasy football draft. So when I say there's no time commitment at all during the year, that means there's no time commitment at all during the season. You can check in on your teams. You can see how they're scoring, but the highest potential starting lineup for you at the end of every single week is automatically submitted. So say you take Jameson Williams, you didn't think he was going to do anything week 1, but all of a sudden he has 2 receiving touchdowns. Then he immediately slides into your wide receiver slot. And also you draft 18 rounds. So you're going to be taking disgusting players at the very end of your drafts. Like Carson Steele gets drafted in pretty much every single one of these. So there is no waiver wire either. So you are locked in. That's why you're going to see people taking multiple quarterbacks, multiple tight ends as well. So roster construction will matter here a decent amount. Okay. But let's move this over. Addison goes 85. Burrow off 86. Ramondre goes as well. I will take DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, based off what we've read, Hopkins should be good to go week 1. We have Calvin Ridley, so maybe with this team, we make one concentrated bet that the Tennessee Titans passing offense is better than people are expecting. So maybe we go ahead, we take DeAndre Hopkins with Calvin Ridley, and then later in the draft for one of our quarterbacks, we decide to grab Will Levis. So we'll see. We'll see. But obviously at this point, we are pretty much loaded up at wide receiver, and we don't necessarily need any more receivers to make it to us. Okay. Now, after we take Hopkins, you have Sutton, Swift, Jalen Warren all off. I need to start using these live streams to ask y'all for my own start stuff. So I just recorded my quarterback rankings that will come out tomorrow. They're already updated on flogfantasy.com if you want to see them now. But the decision I have in my own league this week is between Caleb Williams and Brock Purdy. Who would you start? This week in particular, Caleb Williams is going up against Tennessee. The Chicago Bears have an implied team total of about 24.5 points. And the Niners are going up against the Giants with an implied team total of about 24.5 points. I'm sorry, 23.5 points. So please spam the chat. Are you going to go Caleb? Are you going to go Purdy? My thought process at the moment, just to let you know, I did rank Caleb at 13 and I did rank Purdy at 14 in my QB rankings this week, is if the Bears are going to be a higher scoring offense based off matchup and Caleb Williams should have more rushing volume than Brock Purdy does, I think this week in particular, I may go ahead and I may take Caleb. It seems like most people in the chats agree with us. You know what would be a potential benefit is we go Purdy, we get to sweat it out for Monday night. That'd be fun. May provide some entertainment value for the Flock League YouTube channel as well if we get a good sweat going for Monday night. The other decision that I have to choose between is I'm already starting James Conner at running back relatively easily. I'm not considering anybody else at RB1. But the two running backs that I have back-to-back right now are Ramondre Stevenson and DeAndre Swift in my rankings. My RB2, I'm choosing between Stevenson and Swift. Swift should be in the much higher scoring offense. Stevenson should be safer to project having a high share of his backfield. So I don't know. They're ranked 23 and 24 for me. If you could help me out on Stevenson versus Swift. Stevenson's going up against Cincinnati and Swift is going up against Tennessee. Okay, so. And then here with this pick, I think we may surprise some people. Singletary goes. I'm going to go ahead and take Zach Moss here, 105. I think Moss is the guy over Chase Brown. But Gurum says Swift, Ramondre, Swift. Ramondre. Stevenson, Swift. So it does look like most people are taking Swift. Swift is supposed to just be in the much better offense overall. I literally only traded for Stevenson in that league, thinking I was going to be able to flip him for more, and nobody will trade for him. So I'm just in a world of pain right now. If this was a league where we are drafting for the fantasy football playoffs, I don't necessarily know if I take Jerome Ford here, but specifically because we are just seeing who can score the most points weeks 1 through 17. I think if points matter just as much in week 1 as they do in week 17, I will go ahead and take Ford with the Chubb injury. But let me see. Cameron says, if I use code FLOCK last year, do I still get your rankings? I can't find them. I'm very sorry, my friend, but if you used code FLOCK last year on Underdog Fantasy, you should have gotten the rankings last year on Underdog. But you can still find the rankings on flockfantasy.com, of course. Now, Trevor Lawrence goes off 115. Brock Purdy off 114. Jack says, I think Ramondre made that trade worth it. He'll still be a solid run RB1 in an offense with 0 passing game. My thought process is at the moment, and I don't want to be too much of a Debbie Downer, but y'all know I trust Vegas projections a ton. And they are projecting the New England Patriots to be the worst offense in the league by a decent margin. And the thing is, if you look at New England, right now, until Drake May takes over, they have probably the worst starting quarterback play in the league. They probably have the worst offensive line in the league. Or if not one of the worst offensive lines in the league. They probably have the worst wide receiver core in the league. So this is just going to be an absolute garbage offense. That's the primary concern that I have. Nothing to do with Stevenson. Just how are we going to get touchdown upside here? Stan, welcome to being a member of the flock. Happy to have you, my friend. Happy to have you. Okay. So we have a bunch of running backs going off here in this round. I actually really like our team so far. Obviously, this is a squad where we definitely need to find some quarterback production later. Since it's not a tournament, we're not forced into pretty much just only going with stacks. Definitely stacks would be ideal. But it's not something that we are going to need to force, for sure. Okay. Dallas Goedert off the board at 120. I actually ranked Goddard ahead of Bowers just for this week. So I was thinking, I was like, Dallas Goedert is going to be in the much better offense. Not only is he going to be in the much better offense, but at the same time, I don't know. I mean, Bowers, rookie tight ends, just feels like it'd be much tougher to trust him week one. Aiden says, Yo, Mason, would you consider trading Jamar for a different round one player since he's holding out? If you could trade Jamar for St. Brown, I would do it in a heartbeat. If you could trade Jamar for Tyreek, Bijan, Brees, I still have Jamar ranked at 7. I asked everybody in the live chat last night if they would prefer Jamar or Jefferson, and it sounds like the majority of people would rather have Jefferson. I'm holding out there. I still think I go Jamar just because Joe Burrow is so much better than Sam Darnold. So here, if we were looking at potential quarterback stacks, I mean, we don't really have either one with Tua or Goff. The teams after us, this team already has Josh Allen and Caleb, so they can't take another quarterback. This team has Burrow, and they have Laporta, so we could very easily see them go Goff. This team has Mahomes and Kelsey stacked up, so I think they would possibly pass on Tua. So if we were to pass on a quarterback here, just going through and looking at the other options of who we'd be taking, it's not like I'm super pumped to go Jalen Polk, Brandon Cooks, Mike Williams. We're already strong at wide receiver, sitting with Jefferson, London, Dell, Ridley, Hopkins. So I think we just go ahead, take Jared Goff, take a quarterback that while we don't have him stacked, he is just going to score a decent amount of points. Where right now you actually have the Lions projected out to be the second highest scoring offense in the NFL this season. And I mean, the Lions are actually supposed to be the highest scoring team in the league this week. Okay. And it should be, there are some pretty good storylines this week. Obviously, Chiefs, Ravens, phenomenal game. Cannot wait. We get the new look Philadelphia Eagles with Kellen Moore. We get Jordan Love in the Packers. Do we go? I think we go Mike Williams here. Yeah, I think I prefer Mike Williams over those other receivers. I think I actually kind of like the running backs here over wide receiver as well. But if we go with the running back, if we go with our fifth guy by round 12, we're done drafting him. Okay. But let's move this over. I apologize. Yeah, let's look at all the great games that we have. You have the Ravens, Chiefs, Packers, Eagles. 2 super exciting games. The Panthers, Saints, that'll be a dud. Vikings, Giants. It'll be exciting for fantasy, dud real life game. Patriots, Bengals, that'll be a dud. Falcons, Steelers would be very exciting with Russ and Kirk. Houston, Indy, I think that should be very exciting. Arizona, Buffalo should be very exciting. Really wanted to see what the Bills receivers look like. Tennessee, Chicago, that'll be very exciting with Caleb. Jacksonville, Miami. It'll be a good game. No massive storylines there. Kind of similar situations where they were last year. I guess actually Jacksonville, you have Gabe Davis coming over. You have Brian Thomas Jr. Different situation there in fantasy. You have Seattle and Denver. So we get the Bo Nix experiment. Get to see what this new Seahawks offense looks like as well. The Chargers, Raiders, a change with Gardner Minshew under center. Brock Bowers, completely new coaching staff, completely new wide receivers, completely new running backs for Los Angeles. Cleveland, Dallas, we'll get to see what Jerry Jeudy looks like. And Deshaun Watson, they'll be a little different. Washington, Tampa, we get to see Jaden Daniels. Then Sunday night, we get Rams, Lions, the revenge Goff, the revenge Stafford. And then Monday night, we get Jets, Niners. arguably two of the best defenses in the league. It's going to be just a really good week. A really good week. Brock says, hot take, Jamar Chase will miss the entire season. If Chase misses the entire year, this will set a completely new precedent. Like, the Bengals can still control Chase for pretty much the next 2 seasons. If Chase misses this entire year, I would be very surprised. And I mean, it would just be crazy. But Flock Soldier, always happy to see us, says, Hogan Board, one of my members is offering Marvin Harrison Jr. and Chase Brown for Bijan. I'm going to take Bijan. Is this not a downgrade? Marvin's nice, but Chase Brown. Yeah, no, Chase Brown, not nearly enough to bridge the gap. How I always like, what the analogy I always use is if you're going through and trading like Bijan Robinson for, say, Jamar Chase. I'm sorry, not Jamar Chase. Say Marvin Harrison Jr. You're trading a Lamborghini for a Porsche. But the person who's giving you a Porsche goes, hey, I'll throw in a little scented tree candle that's going to hang from the dashboard. It'll make the car smell good for a week. That little thing is so irrelevant that it makes no difference at all in the negotiation that you're having here if you are moving massive, massive, massive pieces. You know, so I would just, I would keep Bijan Robinson. Hambone, welcome to being a member of the flock, my friend. So Jordan Mason, Luke Musgrave, both off. We're going to get Kirk Cousins here. We're going to stack Cousins up with Drake London and just make the bet that Cousins is near the top of the NFL in overall passing volume. And this is a good offense. Okay. But let's move this down. So now at receiver, we have Jefferson, London, Dell, Ridley, Hopkins. Running back, we have Derrick Henry, Rashad White, Zach Moss, Jerome Ford. Tight end, we have Ferguson. And quarterback, we have Goff and Cousins. And we also have Mike Williams at wide receiver as well. Yes, and we're going to reunite Justin Jefferson with Kirk Cousins. 100%. That's what we're doing here. Okay. Now, after we take Cousins, you have a couple more quarterbacks going, so I definitely feel good about our decision to take Cousins where we did. I mean, I don't really think that we ever debate that situation. I think it's one of those picks that's pretty much just an auto Kirk Cousins selection there. Jalen McMillan off the board at 157. Okay. So if we were to go with the receiver, it will be our last. I think we may just take Rodgers and lock in some more quarterback points. I think Rodgers just dramatically outscores everybody else in this range. We have him paired up with Mike Williams. Now we have solid quarterback production every week with whoever the highest scorer is going to be between Goff, Cousins, and Rodgers said week. I don't have to predict it. It's best ball. They'll automatically slide into my lineup. So overall, I really do like this team. Obviously, at this point, we are done at quarterback, but I mean, the best available receiver there would have been Jalen Tolbert. It's not like I'm the biggest Jalen Tolbert fan in the world. Now, after we go Rodgers, Conklin immediately off at 161. Adrian says, Mason, who are your most drafted players this year? Let me pull this up for you, my friend. For the longest time, it was Jordan Addison. I think it may still be Addison. Let's see. Could also be Sticky Ricky. So it just kind of varies between tournaments. Specifically in the Eliminator, it's Josh Jacobs, then Cade Otton, Amari Cooper, Brock Purdy, Jahmyr Gibbs. In the regular 2024 season slate, it's Sam Laporta, Jordan Addison, Quentin Johnston, Xavier Legette, and Sticky Ricky. The Big Q has officially worked itself up from 13% of my drafts to being inside the top 5 most drafted. Come on, Big Q. Give us a wide receiver 3 season. Come on. Tresner says, I hope Chase does miss a whole year. 0% Chase. If Chase misses the entire season, I am literally screwed. I don't have him that much in underdog drafts, but specifically in the flock league, taking him round 1, I think I'll still be able to get away with not losing the league. But I think it would just cap me where there's no way I win the flock league if Chase misses the year. I was really just hoping that Chase was going to be playing. It was going to be back today, and it was going to be something we no longer had to worry about. And I could go through and I could dance and celebrate. But it sucks. Marshawn Lloyd off 170. And I think in terms of my Chase exposure, I'm not going to pull it up right now because it's either 7, 8, 9%. I've said this time and time again, but those guys in round 1, really the only stance I took on the standard top 8 players in round 1 was I was quick to pivot from Jefferson to St. Brown. So I do have a lot of St. Brown. I think I'm at 12-ish% St. Brown. Early in the offseason, I was quick to rank Breece Hall over Bijan. So I have a lot of Breece Hall and I don't have much Bijan. And by a lot, I have like 12% Breece Hall and like 5% Bijan. So it's not like dramatic. Like I'm not taking massive swings on, like I'm not taking massive stances on round 1 players. Like we kind of get the round 1 players. It's not like you're going to break some news here and find out something that nobody else knows. So the guys that I took massive swings on were the players in rounds like 16, 17, 18. So took a lot of Sticky Ricky. Took a lot of Quentin Johnson. Over the past month, I've taken a ton of Roschon Johnson around 18 and Roman Wilson around 18. In round 18, if I needed a receiver, I went Roman Wilson. If I needed a running back, I went Roschon Johnson. So, and I definitely, over the past month, that's when I got into the high stakes drafts. I'm sure y'all saw we streamed 10 $500 drafts this month. We really didn't start streaming until this month in particular. So really all the high stakes drafts we did, and by this month, I mean August and September. All the high stakes drafts we did was specifically when we were drafting over the past 4 weeks, when we were all in on Roschon Johnson. So I just pulled it up, and Roschon is officially the running back I have the most dollars invested into. So if Roschon Johnson is the next Kyron Williams, you are going to be hearing me just be the most obnoxious person on the planet for another 2 to 3 years until I can no longer talk about it. All right, let's move this over. We are just wide receiver and tight end. I know a lot of people are going to make the argument for Ben Sinnott. I think here specifically, maybe it's a little bit less exciting because he is a rookie that we're expecting to back half his production. So I'm going to take Marvin Mims Jr., and I'm just going to queue up a bunch of tight ends for rounds 17 and 18. It's not a tournament, so we don't really need unique options. We will literally just take the 2 best available tight ends here. I'll move on. Let me move the rookies down a bit. Let me move the injured players down a bit in the queue. But let's go ahead and let's hop into another private draft. We will get in a $5 private draft this time instead of a $3 one. Let me grab the link to this and I will send it out right now. $5 draft here. It's going to say $5 draft here in the live chat if you wanted to join with us. That is in the chat right now if anybody wants to get in this. Took a little bit of time to fill up the first one. Hopefully it doesn't take too long to fill up this one. And people are joining. People are joining. Good, good. All right, we are full. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you for the 11 people hopping in here with us. And Underdog didn't have the nerve to give me pick 9 this time. Or you know what it was. This is what it was. Underdog saw me get pick 9. They went, ooh, perfect. Plan's going exactly how we mapped it out. Then they saw that I had Justin Jefferson fall to us at pick 9, and they went, "Oh, can't have that. Can't have that. Let's make sure that that never happens again. Give him pick 10 just in case." So now we get the luxury of being in here at 10 instead. Ooh, nothing better. Nothing better. Okay. Rob in this draft with us at pick 2. Love to see it, my friend. Cameron in this draft with us at pick 4. Nick in this draft with us at pick 1 as well. Aiden had to update his app. Ooh, tough scene, my friend. Tough scene. Jay Conway says maybe Jamar will fall to us. Tommy in here at 5. Brendan in here at 7. If Jamar does make it to us, I will take him at 10. Victor in this draft with us at 3. Love to see it. McCaffrey goes at pick 1. Tyreek off at 2. Lamb goes at 3. So really not too many surprises so far in this draft. Hopefully we get someone we like falling to us. We'll see. Bryce says, new days, same draft spot for Mason. 100%. Card says, appreciate the team review. Great content, my guy. Thank you, my friend. Hope that we were able to help out in some way. Definitely with those team reviews on the site. I definitely try to dive into your league settings and just come up with an overall strategy for you to possibly not only use in the short term, but also in the long term. Okay. Now, Chase off the board at pick 8, so we are not going to get Chase. Instead, more likely than not, actually, we get A.J. Brown. Better than Garrett Wilson. Better than Garrett Wilson. Milan says, why does it say correct your picks when trying to do a team review? So this is something that we should fix when the update comes out tomorrow. But how we've used flockfantasy.com with the team reviews all offseason has specifically been in Dynasty. So in Dynasty Fantasy Football, you have rookie picks. So what we've had all the people playing Dynasty do is just confirm their rookie picks with us so we can make sure that they're correct. So all you have to do is hit the little checkbox that says correct rookie picks. Just press it. It's a checkbox, or correct draft picks, whatever it says. We're going to go Gibbs. Gibbs sounds like he is good to go for week 1. So starting A.J. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm actually very excited about. But yeah, if you are submitting your team for review on flockfantasy.com, hopefully whenever we go through and have the overall redesign, which should happen later tomorrow, you don't have to deal with it. But for now, all you have to do is just literally check the box that says my rookie picks are correct, or correct rookie picks, whatever it says. But yeah, we mainly put that in there so we didn't mess up any Dynasty team reviews. Okay. After we go Gibbs, you have London, Nico immediately after. I like this team. I mean, I know like we want to sit here and complain about getting pick 9 and pick 10 in this draft. But out of all the starts that we could have, getting Jefferson at 9 and getting Gibbs at 15 feels pretty damn good. Feels pretty good. Evan says, make a hyper unique build. You don't really need to worry about doing that in these private drafts. This isn't a tournament, my friend, on Underdog. This is a private draft where we're only going up against the 11 other people in this league. But of course, if you wanted to draft with us, we're still going to be doing this every single second we can before the season kicks off. And if you were wanting to get into another draft, like I said, Underdog is by far and away the best place to do so because there's no time commitment at all during the season. It's not going to take any attention away from your main fantasy football team that you care about. And if you wanted to get in that draft, you can find the link in the description, comment section, live chat. If you use code FLOCK, you are going to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Plus, you will get a Christian McCaffrey special pick'em for Monday night. This is exclusive to code FLOCK users, more than less than half a total rushing yard. Plus, you will get a Travis Kelce special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard as well. That is exclusive to code FLOCK. I'm sorry, that is site-wide. Everybody is going to be getting that. But Underdog is running additional promos all week. I've never seen them do this many promos. Or today they also dropped a no sweat free token. And you actually have this even if you've been on Underdog for years. Obviously, I've been on Underdog for years, and I use my no sweat token today. You can apply it to any pick'em slip that you make. And if you miss, so say you go higher than Travis Kelce, 66.5 receiving yards, he ends up only having 42. You just automatically get your money back in site credit. But you are only able to put $10 on it. I put $10 on a little 3 thing that I think is supposed to win me 68 if it hits. And if not, I get my $10 back. Yes, you can use it with the Scorchers as well. So if you wanted to go through and like do a long shot thing and like put $10 and see if you can 90x it or 100x it, and then if it doesn't work, you just get the $10 back, you can. That's not necessarily my style. I just went with something that was a little more, at least I felt was a little more reasonable. Okay, Sam Laporta off. We're going to go DJ Moore here. Once we go Gibbs there in the second round, I definitely think that we are good to take wide receivers here at the 3-4 turn. Travis Etienne off at 35. So Dell and Diggs, the team at 12, that's Brandon in the live chat, decides to just go all in on Houston. I actually really like our team with A.J. Brown, DJ Moore at receiver, Jahmyr Gibbs at running back. Probably going to go with an elite quarterback here. Josh Allen off. I think we're going to take Jalen Hurts at 39. Be very boring with it. Pair up Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and see if this Eagles offense is able to just go freaking nuts this season. We'll see. We'll see. Brandon says, I don't know what my build is, bro. Trying something new. LOL. I would definitely say if you are trying something new, the place to do so is a $3 draft, a $5 private draft. Try something new. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Lose $3. Almost just kind of treat it as a mock draft. Okay. Mahomes goes 42. Higgins off 43. Michael Pittman Jr. makes it all the way down to 46, falling like a rock. I mean, if you look at where he goes in regular ESPN drafts, he literally is drafted as like the wide receiver 13, wide receiver 14. And if you're looking at where he goes in underdog drafts, he goes like as a wide receiver 3. So I've actually taken a lot of him in underdog drafts in particular. Okay. Jonathan says, Mason, what team are you a fan of? I'm sorry if y'all have heard me say this in the live chat 1,000 times. I'm not a fan of any NFL team in particular. I wish I was. I'm sure the NFL season would be even more fun if I was. But I'm very weird in that the reason I got into the NFL and the reason I started watching football games was because I played fantasy football. Like growing up, I didn't really watch any NFL games. I think I joined my first fantasy football league when I was like 8 years old. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'm playing fantasy football now. I should probably watch the guys that are on my team. And then I got into the NFL that way. Where I grew up, we didn't have an NFL team there either. So I pretty much just got in because of fantasy. And from the very beginning, I was just rooting for the players on my team. So that's what's always just felt natural to me is like, this year, I have a lot of certain players, so I will be rooting heavily for certain guys. But in terms of a singular team, not so much. Like maybe say, oh, I have a ton of Detroit Lions players this year because I really like the projections that you have in this offense. So maybe I'm a quote-unquote Lions fan because I'm going to be rooting for the Lions to score a ton of points as long as it is not through David Montgomery. Okay. Kenneth Walker off 55. So we have a very well-balanced team. If we wanted to go with the receiver here at 58, I definitely don't think we hold back in doing so. This is a different setup than what we had previously in the last draft when we decided to go with a wide receiver at 58, expecting that Rachaad White was going to make it back to us. It looks like that is by no means a guarantee. So I was actually going to plan on taking Rachaad White here. Now that White goes, we will just make the boring pick and take Calvin Ridley. White was going to be my pick here at the end of the 5th, but it is what it is. John says, say the Big Q does fantastic this year. Would you buy his jersey and wear it on stream? The Big Q doing fantastic, all he needs to do is be a wide receiver 3. He's a wide receiver 3 in fantasy, and he's being drafted as wide receiver 70. Being drafted as wide receiver 80. To be honest, I was drafting him primarily when his ADP was around like wide receiver 76. He's fallen down to wide receiver 80. We're going to go Joe Mixon here as our second running back. If he turns out to be like the wide receiver 35, I'm pumped. It's a winning pick. Now, am I buying a jersey over it? Definitely not. If somehow he pulls the Devontae Adams and is just garbage as a rookie, but Adams was garbage in year 2 as well. But if he turns out to be like a legitimate top like 10 wide receiver in fantasy, 100%. But the probability of that happening is sub 1%. It's not happening. The guy that, and like I said, the running back I have the most dollars into this year is Roschon. The receiver that I have the most dollars into is Sticky Ricky, which him getting shot just is brutal. But yeah, if like Roschon comes out and Roschon takes over as the starting running back in Chicago somehow, some way, that is just beautiful. Beautiful. Logan says, does Underdog have mock drafts for the best ball format? I'm sorry, Underdog doesn't have any drafts that are free. The lowest buy-in drafts on Underdog are $3. So if you were wanting to quote unquote mock draft on Underdog and you were worried that you weren't going to be able to have the best team immediately, it may cost you $3, my friend. But if you use code FLOCK, you're going to get a 50% deposit bonus. So you can kind of just chalk it up as, I'll deposit $10, have 15. 3 of those will go into practicing and figuring it out. Okay. George Kittle makes it all the way down to pick 70 in this draft. Okay. The developers just sent out a little mock-up of the site where the update should be live very, very soon. So I need to check this out. What does this thing look like? Oh. This sucker looks good. Ooh. Never mind. A lot of it looks good. I'm really hoping that y'all get to see the new site tomorrow. We may start doing live Q&As tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see where the site's at. I'm so freaking excited about flockfantasy.com. Like, legitimately, I have not been this excited for a football season almost ever, to be honest with you. Because we have both the Flock League happening, which is just, I'm having so much fun with. Like, it's my favorite league that I've been in forever now. And I think the streams are just going to be so much better than me having to pull up the super chats and instead being able to just host everything through the site and being able to see so much more information. And the streams will look better as well. And I won't feel bad about y'all missing answers to questions. I am super excited. But Big Hat Plays, welcome to being a member of the flock. Happy to have you, my friend. Happy to have you. Quinn says, do you think it's worth it to roster Roschon Johnson? No. Don't roster Roschon in your regular fantasy football league. I'm going to take Ladd McConkey here at 82. I think Ladd is a completely fine pick. Definitely prefer him more in a league where you have the fantasy football playoffs, where we are looking for upside in weeks 15, 16, 17. Ramadre off 83. Okay. Chase says Vegas only has 8 tight ends with better anytime touchdown odds than Taysom Hill. Yeah, Taysom Hill in a non-PPR format, you can make an argument he is easily a top 10 tight end. I mean, I just made my tight end rank. I updated my tight end rankings on flockfantasy.com today, and those are for a full PPR league, but I put Taysom as tight end 14 there. So I think Taysom's for sure playable. We may just go Hollywood. Hollywood's going to miss the first week. How big of a deal is it? Addison may miss more time. We're going to go Addison at 87, one of the last receivers in this tier. If Addison ends up getting suspended, this is a brutal spot to take him in a private draft where we need regular season points, but we'll take him. Okay. Hammer says, is Ray Davis worth a roster spot as a handcuff for Cook? So here's what I'm going to need from y'all. Both in questions that you would ask in the live chat, as well as questions that you are going to submit to flockfantasy.com. It'll be a lot better because if you submit questions to the sites, I'll be able to, if you have your team linked, I'll be able to look at your entire team. So I'll be able to figure out who we are dropping. The main thing is I need to know who you would drop. Because if you're saying, Mason, do I pick up Ray Davis? If it's a 12-team league with a relatively respectable bench, 100% he should not be out there on the waiver wire. But some people watching this are in an 8-team league where I actually did a review for someone on the site today that they had Rico Dowdle out there on the waiver wire. Right? So I don't want to tell that person, yeah, go pick up Ray Davis. And then all of a sudden, the running back that they end up dropping is Tajay Spears. Just because every league is so different with the depth that you have. So those waiver wire questions are extremely difficult to answer. Also, trade questions are very difficult to answer without knowing your league settings as well. Which is why I am really excited about moving away from Super Chats and to flockfantasy.com. Thomas asking if I still haven't looked at the team on the website. When did you submit it, my friend? Because I believe every team that had been submitted in August is reviewed. I think that there are some leftover teams from September 1st and the September 2nd teams we have not had a chance to look at. And it's September 3rd. So right now it's taking about 2 days to get a team review, my friend. But during the season, when we're live streaming team reviews every single night, rather than going through and live streaming these underdog drafts, then it should be same day you get that team review. Austin says you have to subscribe on Flock Fantasy to get questions answered. You don't have to subscribe. You can make one-time purchases to get questions answered, or you could be a paid paid member, and you get all the rankings, get all the premium content, trade calculator, et cetera, et cetera. And if you are a mother flocker and use code FLOCK with the annual package, you will get your team reviewed for free every year as well. Okay. But Thomas, I don't see when you in the chat when you said you submitted your team. Like I said, if you submitted it anytime in August, like you've submitted it 3 or 4 days ago, yeah, just go to the site. You'll see it's reviewed. Okay, let's move this down. So Lawrence goes here at 102, which is well ahead of ADP. That is a team that took both Kirk and Evan Ingram. It's not like I'm stressing about it, right? It doesn't matter too much for my squad. I know who we want here, 106. I have a plan A and a plan B. I definitely think we at least get one of them. Teresa says he said September 1st. Yeah, if you submitted your team 2 days ago, there's a chance that it's not going to get done till tomorrow, my friend, which I'm very sorry about, but I think honestly a 2 to 3 day turnaround is not that bad. Thomas says, well, I get my review on Discord. I submitted September 2nd. If you submitted anything on Discord and you didn't submit it through flockfantasy.com, you'll get nothing. Submit it through flockfantasy.com September 2nd, which is yesterday. Give me a day or two, my friend. And then you will get it through flockfantasy.com. It'll show up in your email saying, hey, click here, get your team review, or you can go to my reviews page. You'll see it right there. But yeah, please don't spasm me that it took a day to get to it. Our plan A was David Njoku. Our plan B was Zach Moss. We will go ahead. We will take Zach Moss at 106. It's pick 106, and I think we're potentially getting the starting running back for the Cincinnati Bengals. Kevin, happy to see it, says best fantasy content out there. Keep doing your thing. What's here on the website is best for team reviews. Don't know what you mean by tier on the website. If you're looking at like the Flocker versus Mother Flocker subscription tier, if you're an annual Mother Flocker, you get a free team review. But honestly, if you have any subscription and you use code FLOCK, then you're going to get 30% off any reviews or 30% off any questions and stuff. Anyway, it doesn't matter if you are a Flocker or a Mother Flocker on the site, if that makes sense. Hope I was able to answer that. But Shakir and Samuel both go. I feel comfortable with our running back room here. And if this was a tournament where we were really trying to optimize for points in weeks 15, 16, 17, there I think Jonathan Brooks is a phenomenal pick, and I would 100% be looking to go with Jonathan Brooks there instead of Zach Moss. It's just specifically tougher to take Brooks when it's a league where it's cumulative scoring. So instead, I think we will go ahead and we will take Brian Robinson Jr. here at 111. Isaac says Mother Flocker is such a good name. Yeah. Let me know. I don't know. Like, my thought process is trying to be somewhat of not just a YouTuber and just trying to make funny names and stuff, maybe somewhat of a legitimate business. So having our subscriptions tiered Flocker and Mother Flocker probably, I don't know if it's the best business move, but that's how I set it up at Patreon years and years and years ago. So we will see. We'll see. Okay. Tresner says, be more comfortable if you drafted Mostert. I haven't taken a ton of Mostert this year. I think I'm maybe underweight on the Miami running backs across the board. Let me pull this up. Obviously, Miami's running backs scored a zillion points last season. If they were to just repeat what they did this year, you should just take them regardless of what their cost is. Looking at my Miami backs exposure. 5% Jalen Wright, 4% Mostert, 4% Achane. So yeah, I am underweight on the Miami backfield. There is that outside chance that Miami repeats what they did last season. I am screwed. And I am streaming for 24 hours a day answering fantasy football questions next season. Utah Sports says, will there be another Flock Community tournament on Underdog before the season kicks off? I will message my Underdog rep tomorrow morning, and I will ask if we can push it up earlier in the day on Thursday. So we will see. We will see. Alex says, what's the picks ranking on the site mean? Is that the draft rank? So this is going to be something, if you look at the league analyzer where you look at your league standings, you'll see with the picks rank, there is actually no value attached to the bar chart and there is nothing listed out there. So the picks ranking actually doesn't impact the league standings at all. It's just an extra column that we have right now at the moment because that league analyzer and everything that we have been using up until this point had been for Dynasty Fantasy Football. And for Dynasty Fantasy Football, we had the picks there for rookie picks. But obviously in your regular fantasy football draft, that's irrelevant. So you will see when the new site goes live tomorrow, which by new site, I mean, it's just a massive, massive update to everything. you will see that that picks column is no longer there for your regular fantasy football league. Okay. But let's move this over. Mike Williams off at 124. So overall, I think that we're in a really good spot here with the squad. Now, because this is cumulative scoring, I definitely don't want to just take two quarterbacks that are on the same bye and not take a third. So I don't know if we'd be super inclined to take Jared Goff here, match him up with the same bye week as Jalen Hurts, go quarterback at 39 and 130, and then all of a sudden feel like we can't take a third, even though Goff would pair up with Jahmyr Gibbs for us. Rec, happy to see us, says, Sup Mason, room temp take. Lamar and Henry each rush for 10 plus rushing touchdowns this year. Let me see what the underdog pick'ems are for the rushing touchdowns season long. We'll take Gabe Davis here. Boring pick. I get it. But the wide receivers are about to fall off, and Gabe Davis is one of these guys that can give you random spike weeks in best ball and hit your starting lineup. So right now, looking at the NFL season, Lamar, they have it 5.5 rushing touchdowns. So saying Lamar is going to have double-digit rushing touchdowns, and underdog has Lamar higher, lower 5.5. I could go take the higher 5.5, my friend. I mean, and Henry is at, they actually don't have a Henry rushing touchdown total. They do have Henry at 1,025 rushing yards, higher, lower. The only guy that they have a rushing touchdown mark with is Lamar. I'm going to take Jared Goff. It's disgusting. I don't think we should. Now we're going to have to take a quarterback in round 18, but we'll see. Chase says, how do you submit your team review if you're an annual mother flocker, and do you do dynasty reviews? 100%. I'd be happy to do a dynasty review, my friend. Just link your dynasty team and I will take a dive into that. And so what you'll see is when you go to select whatever creator you're wanting to submit a review for, if you are a paid annual mother flocker and you use code FLOCK, then you should have a free team review voucher for myself. So it will say $0 if you click on me. It will take you to Stripe and it will say like $0 and you hit purchase. And all it does is it spends like the little voucher you have. At least that's what we've been calling it on the back end. Maybe you call it gift card, gift certificate, whatever a store would call it. But yeah, and then it will just use that. But after we take Goff, you have Darnell Mooney, Brandon Cooks, both off. I think you could make an argument to just go ahead and take Brandon Cooks. When you take Jalen Hurts there in round 4, you are really relying on Jalen Hurts to just put up a monstrous season this year. T. Jameson says Goff plays 14 dome games this season. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely in on this offense, as we've already mentioned. I mean, the Lions are probably one of my most drafted offenses this season, specifically because what Vegas sportsbooks are putting out for their totals each and every week. And I think they score a ton of points, whether that's because they're in a dome, whether that's because they have an elite offensive line. I don't care that much. I just kind of want players in offenses that are going to score a lot of points regardless of why it's going to happen. Okay. Tyler Algier off 141. Ezekiel Elliott goes 142. D-Bow says, room temp take, pizza press is better than mod pizza. Is pizza press a thing that's across the entire country? Do y'all know what pizza press is? There's one in West Campus in Austin. I thought it was just an Austin thing. Of course, this is showing probably how dumb I am. But is pizza press a thing across the country? Okay, people saying that they never heard of it. Chase, I just answered how to submit the free Mother Flocker review. Just rewind 30 seconds. Okay, most people haven't heard of Pizza Press. Pizza Press is like one of those places. I'm sure y'all have heard of Mod Pizza. It's like the Chipotle of pizzas, right? You go, you pick all your toppings, and they cook pizza, give it to you. But it's like Chipotle. You go, I want that, I want that, I want that, and they make it in front of you. It's not that good. I'm telling you, and I know y'all are annoyed hearing back-to-back pizza stories from me, but y'all brought it up. I didn't bring it up. The pizza that I had yesterday, I know it sounds gross. I get it. But jalapeno popper pizza. Instead of marinara sauce, it had cream cheese. And not a lot of cream cheese, just a little cream cheese. Just enough to get the flavor of it. On top, it had really good jalapenos. Not like super spicy jalapenos, but like more like pickled. It's like jalapenos for the flavor, not in a little bit of spice, but not a ton of spice. We're going to go Cole Kmet here because I'm an idiot and I want to back up tight end in Chicago. But then it had bacon on it, but it was from Via 313, and it was just like the Detroit-style pizza. It was so good. Immaculate. And I thought it was good. I didn't know if it was going to be gross when I ordered it. I didn't know if it was going to be good. Something that I've definitely tried to get better about over the past few years of my life, and I have gotten a lot better about, is being more adventurous eating food. Take Kim, longtime member of the flock. Happy to see you here, my friend. Happy to see you. And let me also, let me go through and explain my whole food awakening, all right? I know y'all probably want to hear more about the draft, but I'm sorry. I'm going to be answering live Q&As about fantasy football teams nonstop, where I'm not allowed to ramble like this for like another 100 days straight, starting on Thursday. So you have to at least give me this. So I used to work at a Japanese restaurant for a summer in school. And back then, I didn't really eat many things. I want to eat salad. If I got a burger, I was the guy where whenever you go out to eat, I'm asking like, hey, no onions. Hey, take this off. Hey, no, none sauce on the side. Crap like that. Like everything I ordered, I was like, hey, I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. And I'll take it off. And I worked at a Japanese restaurant, small little Japanese restaurant. Shout out Don Japanese Kitchen. Closed in Austin, but there was one in San Marcos. If anybody goes to Texas State, I'm sure you know it. But anyway, it was a very small place. It was just like one cook, the owner, and myself. And that was it. And the owner would always make me food, because he just loved cooking. He owned a restaurant, of course. And he spoke mainly Japanese. It was kind of hard for us to communicate. I was not about to disrespect him. Of course, I'm his employee. I'm trying to be nice. So I'm not going to ask hey, if you're making me this, I don't want this on it. I was just okay, whatever he gives me, I'm going to eat it, even if I don't like it. And he gave me these fish tacos that had so much stuff that I would have never ordered in a million years. I would have always got it on the side. Crap, just in small things, just like cabbage and crap on it, just normal stuff that would come on a taco. I ate it. And then I went, oh my gosh, this is the best thing I've ever had in my entire life. And then I realized that over the past 10 years, every time me ordering and altering it and saying hey, I want this, but take this off of it, take this off of it, take this off of it. It was just making the food so much worse. It was just making it so much more bland. So now typically what I do when I go to a restaurant, I have a rule. I can't, and I've had this rule ever since that one day, which was 4 years ago. And it's made food so much better. I can't order something and go, I don't want this on it. It's just however it comes, that's how it comes. And most times when I go out to eat, to just try to be a little adventurous, I just ask the waiter, what's the best thing here? What are y'all known for? And that's what I get. And it is so much better. So much better. But, and then Brandon says, bro said fish tacos. I know that I would have gotten fish tacos in the past. I eat fish tacos all the time, but I'm saying with a bunch of extra stuff on it that I would have never gotten. But, and now, bunch of food that I've never eaten before. It's all my favorite food. I know none of y'all care about this, which I completely understand. But anyway, we go Luke Musgrave there at 159. Just going through, locking up another tight end. Not too much to discuss here, of course. Okay. Isaac says, so one player of each position a week. Is that what Underdog subs in? No. So your starting lineup on Underdog is one quarterback, two running backs, three receivers, a tight end, and one flex. Now, obviously, you don't submit that starting lineup every week. It will just automatically be submitted for you. So say out of our wide receiver core here, A.J. Brown drops 30 points. DJ Moore drops 20 points. Calvin Ridley gives a dud. Ladd McConkey gives a dud. Jordan Addison gives a dud. But Gabe Davis has a long receiving touchdown and drops 18. Then Gabe Davis would immediately slide in as our wide receiver 3 that week. So that's why wide receiver depth actually does matter a decent amount here, because you don't have to figure out when those guys are going to go off. They just naturally will slide into your lineup when they do. So someone like Wan'Dale Robinson that I take here at 178 in your regular fantasy football league, there's no way you would ever pick up Wan'Dale. Just leave him on the waiver wire, because even if he is productive, you have no idea when that would come. But here on Underdog, you don't need to guess when it's going to come. Just whenever it does, he'll go into your lineup. Okay. Let's move this over. K. Dotton off the board at 181. Interesting spot for us to be in. I think we can take Sam Darnold. I don't love that we went with 3 quarterbacks this early with Jalen Hurts at pick 39. I mean, we go QB in round 4. We go QB in round 12 and QB in round 16. So not horrible, but I do think that we kind of need to go with the 3rd quarterback when our other 2 are on bye, and it is cumulative scoring, and we are trying to get the most points we possibly can for weeks 1 through 17. Okay, let's move this over. Yes, and if you have not done so already, go down there, hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. If we hit 70 more likes, we will fire up another draft after this one. So after we go Darnold, you have the big Q off the board, 184. Here's my thing. I know I keep saying it, and I'll keep reminding y'all. I agree, Quentin Johnson is bad at the game of football. But I think I think Demarcus Robinson is also horrible at the game of football. And I think Demarcus Robinson's playing behind playing behind Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. Quentin Johnson's behind Joshua Palmer and Ladd McConkey. So I agree. Johnson's probably very bad, but at this price point in best ball drafts, 100% good pick. I'm taking him. I don't care. Okay. And I know people are mad with the Darnold pick. I get it. But we do have Addison. Our 2 previous quarterbacks were on the week 5 bye. Okay. CLC says, when I sign up for flockfantasy.com, it never sends me a verification code to verify my account. So this is actually a bug that we're having to update with the overall thing. We run all verification through AWS Incognito. And right now, the issue is if you send that verification code and then you decide, I'm not going to verify my account immediately, I'm going to close flockfantasy.com, and then I'm going to try to go through and get my verification code later. There's not a way to get back to that page. So if you're stuck there, I'd 1, just use another email if you can, or 2, just go ahead, send in the site issues, and one of the developers will just automatically verify your account for you. Adrian says, what is your resting heart rate? Y'all want to take a guess? What do you think the resting heart rate is? I wear an Apple Watch every day. I wear the heart rate monitor a decent portion of the day as well. So whatever my phone says it is actually going to be very accurate. Spam the chat. Get your guesses in. What is Mason's resting heart rate? What do you think? What do you think? Let's go ahead and let's check this out. The health app. I have not looked at this in a couple months. I do like looking at it, though. I know y'all aren't going to get it. Okay. Resting heart rate. Where is it? It has gone up since I've done the Ironman. Obviously, I've been kind of stuck in here working a lot. Our resting heart rate is 45. 45 beats per minute, a.k.a. Olympic level athlete. What do you want from me? Come on. GG in the chat. We're going to go Colby Parkinson here as our 3rd tight ends. Let's see what the guesses were. We got 78, 49, 50, 65, 57, 76, 61, 52, 54, 62, 80, 53, 69, 72. Way off, ladies and gentlemen. Noah says bro's about to die. If you look at like charts and stuff, it says it's not healthy, but 80 goes 45, question mark. What can I say, ladies and gentlemen? What can I say? For me to be this zen and deal with the chat every night, kind of need it. Kind of need it. All right. But also, I do run at like minimum 10 miles a day. I did an Ironman, so we're going to go ahead. Well, the guy been taking around 18 nonstop, Roschon Johnson, bring him in as our RB5, and we will send up a prayer that he is relevant here. And let's see if we hit 600 likes on this stream. If not, I'm about to hit y'all with the quick outro. If we did, we'll get into another draft. But let's see this real quick. 605 by the... Is it by the skin? There's no way the saying is by the skin of your teeth, is it? So that makes no sense. We will just keep bumping up the stakes here. This is going to be a $10 private draft. Link is copied. It is about to be sent in the chat. $10 draft here. Bam. Done. NRC, NYR Central says, when you win Best Ball Mania, you can just buy a new heart. Anyway, screw the haters. That is true. When we win Best Ball Mania, we'll buy a new heart. We'll tell the doctor we need to ramp up the beats per minute, and we'll be good. Lovely. All right. Underdog keeps treating us. First, we get pick 9. They go, you know what? His team at pick 9, it was too damn good. Ramp up the difficulty. Give him pick 10. Then they go, God dang, this guy's a freaking beast. He can't stop. He can't stop. Well, let's go ahead. Let's give him pick número 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. How do you say 11 in Spanish? I don't know. I got to the S and then I forgot. But we get pick 11. So ramping up the difficulty, doing what we can. But thank you for everybody. DRB, happy to see you out here, my friend. Happy to see you. But let's once. I used to be able to count up to 12 in Spanish, but sadly, not as smart as I once was. Okay. But thank you for everybody joining this draft with us, of course. Excited to crush y'all. I'm excited to give y'all the benefit. I'll fall on the grenade. I'll take the garbage pick. And I will show y'all how it's done. All right. Let's go. So Brees off at 4. St. Brown goes at 5. Rob says, had to forget the Spanish knowledge to increase the fantasy football knowledge. 100%. That's exactly what it was. I mean, I knew enough chemistry to pretty much, I don't want to say solve world hunger, but almost. And I went, is this as important as memorizing the yards per route run for every player over the past 3 years? It's not. So we dumped that knowledge along with some other things to load up for what really matters with fantasy football info. And we will take Garrett Wilson here at pick 11. Puka Nacua goes off at pick 12. Taylor goes. We will reach on Saquon Barkley here at 14. 15. We will reach on Barkley. Okay. Frank says, put all the energy in your fingertip, then move it around. Resets your nervous system internally. Now throw it somewhere. All right. All right, Frank. You asked for it. Oh, my God. Oh, all right. No energy left. It was all transferred to the fingertip. We threw it. I don't know where we threw it to. I threw it to the computer. So I'm sure one of y'all caught that, right? Hoping one of y'all caught that energy. Felt the beats per minute of that heart go down from 45 to, I think we're hovering around 39. Call the ambulance. Call the doctor. Call a doctor. Okay. Yeah. Mr. Unbothersome Mason went Super Saiyan. Come on. I'm assuming there's no other way to channel your energy into your fingertip. D-Bow says, solving world hunger is cool, but winning 150K in fantasy football is cooler. That is true. If you are wondering how we won 150,000 in fantasy football, because you're going, Mason, how do you manage that many leagues? I didn't. It's on Underdog Fantasy. If you wanted to get into an extra fantasy football draft this year, highly recommend you doing so on Underdog. If you don't have much time left, I'll definitely hop in tonight or tomorrow. But if you wanted to get in a draft with us or off the live stream, you can find the link in the description, comment section, live chat. Code FLOCK will hook you up with a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Plus, you'll be getting our 2024 rankings, draft guide, and ADP consensus cheat sheet. Plus, Underdog is actually running a ton of promos right now. They have a Travis Kelce special pick'em that's site-wide, more than less than half a total yard for Thursday night. And exclusive to Flock users, if you use code FLOCK and Underdog, you'll also get a Christian McCaffrey special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for Monday night. And Underdog did drop a sweat-free token as well. So if you make a pick'em slip with your sweat-free token and you end up missing, you actually get your money back in site credit. So I made a 3-player one. It was like $10 to win 68. And if that doesn't hit on Thursday night, then I'm going to get the $10 back in site credit. Okay. Now, let's move this. Vinny says, I screenshotted that. You got to see this. Mind if I send your email? Yes. Send it to the email, my friend. Send it to the email. We'll pull it up. Okay. Isaiah Pacheco goes pick 29. Let's move this over. So we started Barkley, Garrett Wilson. So we have a very well-balanced start here through the first two rounds. I mean, I probably still want to grab at least one wide receiver here at the 3-4 turn, but outside of that, I think we're kind of chilling to do whatever we want. Josh Allen goes 33. Rice goes, I prefer Stephon Diggs over Tank Dell. I'm going to go Diggs over Dell here. And maybe I'm an idiot for doing so, but I don't know. I've been taking Diggs over Dell all offseason. I don't really think much has changed. Of course, I could be wrong. Okay, but Dell actually makes it back to us at 38. So might as well go ahead, take Tank Dell here as well. Make one consolidated bet that this Houston Texans passing offense is better than people are expecting. So yeah, now we have Wilson, Diggs, Dell at receiver, and we have Saquon Barkley holding down the fort at running back. Definitely want to reiterate, please take in your regular redraft league Travis Etienne over Tank Dell. For the love of God, go with Sam Laporta over Stephon Diggs. Just here specifically in underdog drafts, the wide receiver depth is going to be very important. Okay, Vinny, I see your email, my guy. I'll pull this up right now. Ooh, I just accidentally deleted it. Now we're back. Okay, that was really funny. Dear God, my face got extremely red. God, if that isn't channeling all your energy, I don't know what it is. Rob says, share the clip to the Mason's Flock general chat in Discord. Let me see this. Okay. Let's, okay, sorry. I pulled up the Discord and saw the developers sending stuff out from, he captioned this when you're constipated. Are you kidding me, my guy? God, I did that long, and then I was thinking, that's really funny, my guy. It's really funny. Luke says Tank Dell was a horrible pick. He's the third receiver. He's the third receiver in an offense that I think can potentially lead the NFL in passing volume, both in yards and touchdowns. Ben says, do you think there'll be an overlay in the marathon or sprint tournaments on Underdog? So you still have Wednesday and Thursday to get into those drafts on Underdog. Obviously, I've drafted a ridiculous amount of teams in both, so I am selfishly hoping that there's an overlay in them. Be honest with you. Now, with that being said, do I think there will be? Probably not. There are a lot of people on Underdog Fantasy. There are a lot of people that are going to be chasing the overlay. The sprint, you need about 6,000 more entries. The marathon, you need about 30,000 more. So you need 36,000 entries across the two tournaments in about 2 days. I don't think there'll be an overlay. Of course, I could be wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I don't think so. Hey, Zaidi says, could you share more details about the internship you mentioned in the latest video? Yeah, so at the end of, I think it was like 4 videos ago or so, I threw out like a little quick thing saying, hey, if you're interested in an internship, reach out to me. And it got, somebody reached out to me, like probably 50 people sent crap, sent an email like within that day. And somebody that I had met with previously that does fantasy football content, that's been trying to be in the fantasy football space for years, and I've been able to see him working hard for years, reached out to me. So it was just a natural fit for the guy who I've been clearly watching for years now to try his absolute best to turn, to make a full-time job in fantasy football, and figured definitely want to give him the opportunity. But Kylo says, what happens if they don't fill up? So if the marathon doesn't fill or the sprint doesn't fill, like say Underdog guarantees $1 million prize pool in a tournament and only $900,000 worth of teams are drafted. Real quick, we will go with, we'll go Pitts here at tight end. Actually, no, we can't go Pitts. The team behind us is 2 tight ends. We're going to go Chris Godwin at wide receiver. But say like Underdog guarantees that it's $1 million prize pool and only $900,000 worth of teams are drafted, then Underdog has to take $100,000 of their own money and throw it into the prize pool to cover the guarantees. So if you're in an Underdog draft and the season gets here and it doesn't fill, it is great news for you. Like I said, I don't think that's going to be the reality this year. There are just so many people drafting on Underdog. I think that those tournaments fill, but I could be wrong. And we're going to go Pitts. Like I said, we almost took Pitts there in the 5th, but the team behind us already had 2 tight ends in Laporta and Kelsey. But Danny from the Stock Exchange coming out says, Ladster here after getting cooked on Rocket League for a couple hours. Helmet's dope, and I guarantee I'll be using it in clips for the Flock League channel. Love to hear it, my guy. Not the getting cooked in Rocket League, but that the helmet got there. Hopefully the merch gets there soon too. But yeah, I'm surprised. I honestly thought the helmet was going to be getting there for a while. And I was literally thinking about it this morning. It's like, oh, hopefully it's there. I assumed there was no way it was going to get there by the time the season started. But I was like, hopefully it's there by weeks 2 or 3. But happy to know you got it, my guy. Okay. So after we go Pitts, you have Kyler, Kittle, Mixon, Ingram, Stroud all off. It would definitely make an argument to go with Stroud at 62. Danny says merch coming, going to be dope for real. For sure. I think the merch debacle with the guy being late with it sucked. But in terms of the quality of it, I think it's super high quality stuff, to be honest. Like the hoodie, I really, really like. And has like the big league logo on it. So we have a little run of 0 wide receivers getting drafted. Rome, Keenan, Deontay, and Brian Thomas all falling here. Rob says Danny's going to find the clip of Mason and use it when Trey Benson pops off. Yeah, Danny is. Yeah, that would be really funny. Danny, if you're still here, I have gone through and I've tried to sell Ramondre Stevenson. Literally nobody wants the dude. No. When we were all there in Austin, everybody was coming on saying, like, oh, Ramondre Stevenson's great. Ramondre Stevenson's great, blah, blah, blah. People are just specifically avoiding the trade with me for Ramondre. Pissing me off. Danny says, chaos will ensue when I beat Zach this week. I'm looking forward to it, my friend. I'm looking forward to it. I need Chase to be back. Please, Chase, sign already. For the love of God. For the love of God, Chase, sign. Nathan says, what do you think about me drafting Kyron Williams number 1 overall in a 12-team league? I'm assuming you're joking, my friend. I don't think it would be a good move at all. I think it'd be a very bad move, to be honest with you. But also, I didn't know that Kyron Williams was going to do anything anyway, so who am I to say? Okay. Danny says, saw your Keen on Nico this week, man of the culture. Yeah, I did have Keenan pretty high. I don't know if I saw your rankings on the site, but if you look at, I'm sure if you have Nico high too, the expert rankings on the site are just going to be extremely high, Nico. Yeah, I have Nico at wide receiver 8 this week. John, I'm playing Thomas this week. Play Thomas, the editor, the guy who won the knockout, who cheated to get me out in knockout. So I'm coming for him. I'm coming for him. Okay. Let's move this over. Interesting setup for us here. If I would have known that these receivers are going to be possibly making it to us at the 7-8 turn, I think what I will most likely do is, more likely than not, I mean, not most likely will do, what I would have done is I think I should have, instead of taking Godwin, I should have just taken CJ Stroud and paired up Stroud with Diggs and Dell. But it is what it is. Colby says, is it bad not to have a stack in your home league? It's not bad. We'll go with Raheem Mostert. We talked about me not having much exposure to this Miami Dolphins running back room, which is nerve-wracking for sure. But we are pretty much guaranteed to get a wide receiver here at 86 if we want one. Jameson, DeAndre Hopkins, 84, 85. Do we take Hollywood thinking he can be back weeks 2 or 3? If it's Best Ball Mania, for sure do. Or just any tournament that has the playoffs in weeks 15, 16, 17. Here with it being cumulative scoring, I think we're going to be very boring, and we're going to go DeAndre Swift here at 86. So now at running back, we have Barkley, Mostert, Swift. At wide receiver, we have Wilson, Diggs, Dell, and Godwin. And then tight end, we have Kyle Pitts as well. This definitely looks very different than a normal team that I have. Brandon says, feels so gross to be fading Achane. I think, to be honest with you, I don't think I've drafted Achane. I know I haven't drafted Achane a single time above pick like 21. I was almost going to say I don't think I've taken Achane at all in round 2. I'm sure I've mixed in Achane at pick 22, 23, 24. But if I was underweight Achane in like regular home leagues where Achane's a round 4 pick and he's going as a mid RB2, I would 100% agree. Just if you look at underdog drafts in comparison to any other platform, every single person and their mom that drafts on underdog is all in on Achane, where in a lot of these drafts, he's going back to back with Saquon. And at that kind of price point, I'm okay laying the bet that I made and just running with it. I'm okay. Is it the most ideal situation? Probably not, but it's one I'll learn to live with. Okay. So Daniels off 92. Seems weird that Daniels has been rising. Like, I figure that Daniels... I figured Daniels would be a faller based off how he looked in the preseason, as well as Dotson getting moved. And no Brandon Ayuk trade to Washington, where obviously at one point that did look like it was a possibility to happen here. But it seems like as we've gotten closer to the season, the exact opposite has happened, where you've seen some of these quarterbacks like Dak Prescott falling, and you've seen Daniels rising instead. Okay. Evan says you're chasing the long ball in fantasy football. For me personally, I think that I would rather chase volume and know that long touchdowns are highly volatile from a year-to-year perspective. So, I don't know, my friend. I don't know. Shakir off 101. So we have a very well-balanced squad. I think we can almost do whatever we want here at 107. We'll probably take a player that we've taken a couple times today. Okay, Rob says, one of my buddies in my home league last year dropped Mostert after week 2, and I proceeded to pick him up off waivers and watch him drop 50-plus points against the Broncos. I'd be so pissed if I was your league mate. And I hope something like that happens in the Flock League because, ooh, that chat's going to be spicy. Okay. Danny says the snipes in the listener league were crazy, like an underdog draft on board on steroids. The listener league, they have your rankings, my guy. I'd imagine the snipes would be tough. Okay, Chase Brown goes, so we're going to get the guy. Ooh, never mind. We're still going to get the guy that we were looking for. We are going to get Zach Moss here at 107. Thought I was going to speak a little too soon, but no, we end up getting him anyway. Spears goes 108. What's the report with Dobbs? Limited with hand injury. Dobbs was limited in Tuesday's practice. Dobbs said he was dealing with a hand contusion, and his recovery is day to day. It sounds like an issue Dobbs will be able to play through during Friday's regular season opener against the Eagles, but it's possible it could impact the third years. We're just going to go ahead and take him. I don't have a ton of Romeo Dobbs. A wide receiver fits the bill here. Get him back around after ADP from an injury that sounds like he's not going to miss any time with. So we'll go ahead and take him. I'd be more worried about it like an ankle or a hamstring. But let's move this over. After Dobbs, Shaheed off 111. Danny, did you get a chance to check the Discord and see the link to the new site that Joe sent? It's like the developer version of the site. It's not completely done, but it should be live tomorrow. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, I definitely would. Okay. Yeah, looks like the rankings page needs to be finished. my teams, obviously. Calc looks good. But hopefully they figure it out soon. Hopefully we can have it live and I can be showing off in the live stream tomorrow night. But after we go Dobbs, some more receivers off with Shaheed, Myers, Wiggs, some more running backs with Dowdle, Blake, Corum. Dowdle's like so funny in that he's extremely expensive in these underdog drafts, but in your regular home leagues, like I'm literally reviewing teams on the site right now and people are telling me that Rico Dowdle's on their waiver wire. It's like a massive discrepancy between like regular fantasy football players and like underdog and high stakes sickos and where you end up seeing Rico Dowdle get drafted. It's like there's a massive, massive gap. Yeah, Danny has Rico. So yeah, Danny, I actually made a buy low running back video for tomorrow. And I included Rico on it to talk about like the difference in value between like a league where you're just playing with your college buddies, your high school buddies, whatever it is. And like with these underdog drafts or high stakes drafts in general, I was like, if you're just in a league where people don't really know what they're doing, I definitely see if you can just throw in Dowdle to an offer and just get him for pretty much free. I was like, for the Flock League, Danny has him. I know there's a 0% chance I'm going to be able to get him for Danny. But yeah, it is kind of funny, like just the massive difference. Cash Clark says Dowdle is on my waiver wire. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Dowdle's on your waiver wire. Unless you're in like the most shallow format ever. I would love to just go pick him up. Cheeky Opson says, I'm guessing this is Danny. Week 8, I think you'll be 4-3, and I will crush your future. Interesting. But yeah, if y'all don't know, Cheeky Opson at the meetup. Danny says he'll be 7-0 by then. I'll be 7-0 by the time we get to week 8, as long as freaking Jamar Chase plays the game of football. As long as he plays football. So we don't have a quarterback yet with this team. Tua does go off the board at 124. Goff goes 125, which does put us in a crappy spot, right? Obviously, we didn't have a stack for either guy, but at the same time, since it's a private draft, I'm not necessarily as concerned about going out and getting those stacks. So we are in a tough situation. Okay. Lockett goes 128. Cousins goes 129. I think I know who we want. So the team after us has 3 running backs, 4 receivers. Spoiler alert, I'm going with the running back or receiver here at 131. Just trying to figure out who it is. Eckler goes. Eckler is probably going to be the guy that we were taking. Now that he's gone, I think we just go ahead and take Mike Williams at 131. I do prefer Mike Williams over Jalen Polk and Brandon Cooks right now. We have Garrett Wilson, so obviously we can set up an Aaron Rodgers double stack. Danny says Polk Benson. This is a private draft where we don't have the playoffs at the very end of the year, my guy. It's just cumulative points scored weeks 1 through 17. So because it's cumulative points scored 1 through 17, I care about the rookie production a little bit less because they should have the crazy ceiling in the final half of the year. I think we maybe go Ezekiel Elliott as our 5th running back and call it a day as well. Because looking at like Zeke as well, this is another example of I don't necessarily know what like the ceiling looks like for the fantasy football playoffs, but I think he can be okay here. Like I think you can just kind of get gross volume and get by. I only have to take down these 11 other teams. So we can might as well. We'll just take Zeke and go for it. Okay. Let's see. Van Man says Garrett, Mike, Rodgers. Damn betting on the Jets like this. I know we are. We're going on the Jets. What's funny is if you look at that week 1 game against the Niners, The Jets are actually projecting out to be one of the worst offenses in the NFL for week 1. I don't think that has much to do with the Jets. I think a lot of that just has to do with how damn good the Niners are in general. But that is, let me know in the chat, what game are you most excited about for this week? Regardless of timing of it, I think I'm probably most excited of the Chiefs and Ravens, but that's just because it's the first one. But in general, what game are you most excited about? Vinny says Detroit Rams. Cameron says Ravens Chiefs. Ravens Chiefs. Danny Cowboys Browns. Rams Lions. Chiefs Ravens. Rams Lions. Broncos Seahawks. Niners Jets. Chiefs Niners Jets. Jaron says first Brazil game ever. Will be very interesting. Lions Eagles. So it looks like it's all the primetime games that people are excited about. Bradley mixing in Bears Titans. Fungi Chunk says just red zone, honestly. To be honest with you, for live streaming purposes, I'm a little annoyed that we have the game on Friday night. Just so much easier when we just have all the games on Sunday. But let's see. A-Rod says, want to know how Joe Shiesty and Chase perform week 1. I think the Bengals, Cameron says, I want to see a Bengals come back against the Patriots. Should be funny. I think the Bengals should be like one of the worst games this week. So whatever. Patriots are going to be the worst team to watch in the NFL in my mind. I don't know. We'll see. Is Xavier Legette playing this week? Let's see. Xavier Legette. You search Xavier Legette. The issue is you don't get any news. You just get people saying his voice is funny. Yeah, I literally can't find any news. I'm assuming he's playing then. I'm assuming Legette's playing. So here at 155, running back's not in play for us. Herbert goes. Dang. We'll go Downs with the expectation that we're going to be able to get Rodgers on the way back around. We have both Wilson and Williams. And I think we are done drafting wide receivers through the rest of this draft. Evan says there's going to be a Brazilian running back soon that's going to be an absolute monster because of this one game. That is funny. Okay, Tolbert off 156. What are y'all giving me? 158. Baker goes. Thank God. I saw purple and I got a little nervous. We will get Rodgers to pair up with Wilson and Williams. This is a team where we're just going to go and say, what if the Jets are really good? What if Rodgers gets back to MVP level Rodgers and all these guys absolutely crush? But I know we still need 2 more quarterbacks. Levis goes 160. Geno off 161. James says, kind of excited to see how good the Jets are. They've been bad for so long. I feel their pain as a Bengals fan. What's their win total this year? Let me look up Super Bowl odds for these teams. Super Bowl odds 2024. Let me look up the lines. My favorite site's just the lines. We just have everything laid out so easy. It's free. Chiefs are about 6-1. Niners are about 6-1. The Ravens are about 11-1, Lions 12-1, Eagles 14-1, Bengals 15-1, Texans 16-1, Bills 17-1. Bills are my favorite in terms of odds. Packers 18-1, Cowboys 20-1. The Jets 20-1, Dolphins 25-1, Rams 30-1, Falcons 30-1, Bears 35-1. Anybody betting the Bears Super Bowl? You're just lighting money on fire. Browns 40-1, Chargers 45-1. Like, I'd rather go Jacksonville 50-1 than Bears 35-1. Jacksonville 50-1 doesn't seem bad. Same odds that you're getting with Pittsburgh. Colts 80-1, Seahawks 80-1, Tampa 90-1, Minnesota 100-1, New Orleans 100-1. Cardinals, is this true? 125-1 for the Cardinals? 150-1 for the Raiders. 150-1 for Washington. 150-1 for Tennessee. 200-1 for the Giants. 250-1 for Denver, Carolina, and 350-1 for New England. 350-1 for New England. That's hilarious. What is that? You throw $100 on New England to win the Super Bowl, you win $35,000 if it happens. But yeah, my favorite odds wise. I'm not like a massive Anthony Richardson guy. If you were a massive Anthony Richardson guy, Colts 80-1 doesn't feel horrible. I wouldn't do it because I don't think Anthony Richardson's the next Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen. But if you thought he was, then maybe that's interesting. I don't mind Jacksonville 50-1, but probably my favorite in terms of value is Bills 17-1. Okay. Cameron says that's lighting $100 on fire. It is definitely lighting $100 on fire. I would never do it. Okay. Here we are quarterback, tight end through the rest of this draft. We are looking for just total points scored through the course of the year. I think we take Bryce Young. Go Bryce Young, 179. We don't have a Young stack. I don't really care, to be honest with you. Khalil, Greg Dortch, both off. We'll take Ben Sinnott. I definitely think it's more appealing in a league that you have the playoff tournament, so you are trying to chase the upside for weeks 15, 16, 17. But I don't know. We're going to take 3 tight ends. I think he can give us some spike weeks. So let's go ahead and let's take him. I think he has high ceiling. Vinny says, unlike Best Ball Mania, where we light $25 on fire every night. Hey, I got 16th place in Best Ball Mania 2 years ago. So you keep that evil away from me. I'll tell you that much. You keep that evil away. Obviously, I'm joking. I get it, my guy. Completely fair point. But I think that's all I got for this live stream. Looks like we have no shot hitting 900 likes, so we're going to call it here. Of course, I'll be live drafting teams on Underdog tomorrow. If you wanted to get into an extra fantasy football draft, I would highly recommend to do it on Underdog Fantasy. Do it real quick, too, because they're best ball, so there's no time commitment at all during the season. It's how I draft hundreds of teams every year. It's how I won $150,000 on Underdog 2 years ago. And if you use code FLOCK when you sign up to Underdog Fantasy, you will get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We'll get my rankings, draft guide, and ADP consensus cheat sheets. And plus, Underdog is doing a ridiculous amount of promos this week. I've never seen them do this much, so please take advantage. They have a site-wide special pick'em. Travis Kelce more than less than half a total yard for Thursday night. And there's a Flock exclusive special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for Christian McCaffrey on Sunday night as well. But thank you again. Really do appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. And I really hope I get to see you out with the live stream tomorrow night.